What's up, guys? It's your favorite Kiwicoach and welcome to another professional golf swing analysis. Today's analysis is going to be Mamiko Higa. Almost won the British Open for the LPGA, JLPGA player. Very good player in her own right. We're going to kind of break down her golf swing. We're going to prove to you guys that she does shallow out the golf swing, because I know that's a controversial subject here in Japan. And then we're going to go from the face-on view and look at her compared to another player and kind of talk about the differences between how to push forward, because that's going to be a pretty important topic in today's video. So if you guys haven't already, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's go do this thing. Alright guys, so if you guys are new to Mike's OG Academy, we do everything you guys need to know about golf instruction here. We got golf course vlogs, golf interviews, golf instructional videos where we talk about the golf swing. Again, anything you guys need to know about golf instruction, we do it here. So, like we said in that last little bit, hit that little red subscribe button. You guys are going to be notified every time we drop a video. So, getting into today's professional golf swing analysis, Mamiko Higa, like we kind of talked about earlier, first off, we're going to prove that she does shallow out the golf club. We're mainly doing these videos right now because we're prepping for our seminar in Japan. It's going to be in Nara at the golf course, Grandage Golf Club. Beautiful track. If you guys don't know the course, go ahead and look at the links in the description. You're going to be able to see the golf course. It's so beautiful. I'm really stoked that they're allowing us to do the seminar there. But yeah, go check it out. So anyways, gearing up for this seminar, we're kind of talking about professional golf swings in Japan and proving that they do shallow out the golf swing, because there's a little bit of a myth in Japan right now that the Japanese golfers don't actually do that motion. And it's been proven a long time ago. I think Trackman Maestro, or one of the guys here in America, kind of talked about shallowing a little while back. It's been proven that every really good golfer shallows out the golf club to some degree. Now there's differing types, right? But to have the Japanese instructors, or the traditional Japanese instructors, say that their professionals don't shallow out the golf club would be incorrect, right? So that's kind of the whole point of this kind of series leading up to the seminar in Japan. We're trying to talk about the shallow golf swing. So let's get into the first element, which is shallowing out the golf club. So we got two professionals on the screen right now. We got Lexi Thompson on the left of the screen, and then we got Mamiko Higa on the right of the screen. Lexi Thompson, LPGA Tour winner, very good player. Mamiko played on the LPGA, I think, a little bit, and the JLPGA player predominantly. So this little bit, we're going to kind of talk about different types of shallowing. Kind of like we referenced earlier, not everyone shallows from the same place, right? Because everyone has different positions at the top of the swing. So the way that they shallow out the golf club is completely different, right? But they do all shallow out the golf club. So let's go take a look at this model per se. Now the reason why I picked Lexi Thompson to kind of compare with, because she has a very similar motion in terms of shallowing out the golf swing than Mamiko. So the first part, I haven't really came out with a fancy name to call this shallowing yet. We're kind of working on that. So if you guys have any ideas, leave a comment below. But I call this form of shallowing for a player that has a really flat shoulder turn at the top of the swing, has a little bit of arm runoff, definitely an overswing, and then across the line, right? So they're in a position pretty much kind of something like this. Kind of like John Daly, just not as severe as Daly, but on the same lines, right? So let's go take a look. So first off, let's address that she has a pretty flat shoulder turn. So hers is pretty much almost parallel to the ground. So if we go draw it real quick, she's right around 80 degrees, right? Which is 10 degrees away from being parallel to the ground. Another little thing to look at for this model is we can see that the lead arm is going to be above the shoulder line, right? Which is pretty common. So you can see those two differences right there. And then obviously we can tell, if we kind of zoom it back a little bit, that she's overswinging across the line, right? So hopefully we can establish that. Now the way that Lexi is going to have to shallow out the golf swing is going to be completely different than, say, a player that has a little bit steeper shoulder axis and arms more out in front. We're going to see that her hand path does something a little bit differently, and then her club head a little bit differently as well. Now, because of the camera view, we're not going to be able to unfortunately see all of this motion with the club head. We're going to mainly be able to see the hand path, and we're going to try our best, right? So we're going to say hand path is here. We're going to say club head is roughly right around here. So let's watch her initiating move. So her initiating move is the hands that fall slightly behind, right? See how it's falling to the left side of that circle? And let's draw another circle right there to kind of highlight that. So it's falling slightly behind, right? And I would say if we looked at it from the face-on view or in 3D motion, it'd also be falling behind and then also working a little bit out. So I don't think she's going behind and getting narrow. I think she's going behind and getting wider. That's kind of important for this part of the shallowing. You typically see this with players who get really a bit of an overswing. They have to kind of shallow this way because they're going to get really stuck if they don't. And Lexi still tends to get a little stuck, so we'll kind of highlight that too as well. Next little click, so let's go here. Golf club, we're going to try to just guess, right? We're saying it's probably somewhere right around here. And then if we get to the next click, we can start seeing the golf club come into frame, right? Her hands are still kind of falling behind and back. Club head now is somewhere roughly right around here. Then we get our hands working a little bit more. And then let's get that club head roughly somewhere right around here, right? So as we can see, the initial movement, her club head is shallowing and falling behind the hands, but it takes a little bit longer for it to actually get behind the hands, but it is directing towards that fashion, right? And the only reason why it took so much longer than, say, someone that's not in her position is because she was overswinging across the line, right? So she was directing the club in this fashion, correct? But it didn't get behind the hands to lay in the golf swing, right? That's super important to understand. And if you can kind of get that, you'll understand that she is shallowing, and then also Mamiko, who has a very similar move, is going to be kind of doing the same thing. So let's go take a look at Mamiko, right? So we get her up to the top of the swing. She's in a pretty similar position as, let's say, a Lexi, right? Now, the main difference I would say between these two players is I would say Mamiko might be a little bit more crossed, and then she doesn't have, I would say, maybe as much arm runoff as Lexi or as big of an overswing as Lexi, right? So her move's going to be a little bit different, but they're very similar. I would still classify them pretty much as the same. Let's do the same thing. So if we take a look at her shoulder axis, she's going to be roughly kind of around the same number. So she's over at 79 degrees, right, which is 1 degree away from Lexi. So pretty flat shoulder turn. Then same thing goes if we go look at her lead arm relative to, let's say, her shoulder axis, which is going to be the blue line. We're going to see that her lead arm is above the shoulder line. She's a little bit crossed, a little bit of a longer swing, right? So we can kind of make a similar comparison here. So let's go try to guess. I think her club head is right around here. If we go take a look at her hand path, let's see what it does. Ah, very similar motion to Lexi, right? See how it's falling to the left part of that circle and down? So then let's draw another circle right here. At this point, it's again, it's a very blurry shot, so I'm guessing her club head is roughly somewhere right around there. And then let's drop her down a little bit more. And we can start seeing that she's getting into a very similar position as, say, a Lexi. And then we'll do one more. And again, because this is not a slow-mo video, it is missing some frames, but I would guarantee her hand path looks very similar to Lexi's in transition, and I guarantee her club head is tracking along the same lines as well. So I got to think about a fancy name to coin this. Maybe the flat shoulder... cross the line, just name it all out in one. That's a horrible name. I need to think of a short, quick name, guys. Again, leave that comment below. What should I call this thing? But as you can see, they got a very similar way in shallowing out the golf club. And again, if you guys know the definition of shallowing, all it really means is that the club head is falling behind the hand slightly in transition, okay? So they both did that. They just took a lot longer to get that club head behind the hands than, say, someone who was in a different position, okay? So I think that's kind of confusing because I've had some comments, especially from the Japanese, who think that this model is not really shallowing. It really is. The club head is falling behind the hands. It just looks a lot different because they're in a different position at the top. So that was kind of the first section of this video. I really wanted you guys to kind of get that point. It's a pretty interesting point when you guys do get it, but she is shallowing out the golf club. So now let's really quickly, we're going to transfer into the face-on view, and we're going to take a look at differences between how she pushes forward relative to a rotational person. Then we're going to make some claims and end this video up. Alright guys, so here's a common issue I see with the Japanese when they do shallow out the golf swing. They're missing some really key important elements that I think that matches up the golf swing together. So typically when I see the Japanese shallow out the golf swing, they're still pushing their body forward in this way that we're about to highlight. I almost want to kind of call this way the K push or something like that. Again, I need help with the fancy terms, guys. Just leave a comment below. Let me know I should be calling these things. I'm just like, I'll tell you guys what it is, but yeah, I don't really know the names quite yet. So anyways, let's go up. We're going to establish, again, I would call this more so of a slide, right? That's one way to call it. I want to call it something fancier. I want to, you guys got to
help me out.
The Kiwi slider or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, let's go into it.
So she's pushing forward, right? So we know that she's breaking that wall early.
But this is kind of the position right here, right around lead arm parallel, I want to kind of talk about. I call this, I don't know what it could be called like a K-looking type of thing. Let's just draw some angles so you guys can kind of see what I'm seeing. So she has her lead knee first, or trail knee, excuse me, kicking into internal rotation. I would say too early for my preference, right? So she's over roughly right around 165. So anyways, her knee has kicked in a decent amount for my preference. Now, lead knee is externally rotated a little bit, which is a lot different than a lot of the Japanese I see. So she looks like she's somewhere in between the two swings right now, but she's definitely not the traditional Japanese, almost if anything, want you extending that lead knee right away, and then kicking that knee in a bunch, and then dropping into right bend, and then flipping, right? That's kind of their model. But she's not really doing that, so let's go take a look. So she's externally rotated that lead knee. Her trail knee is still kicking a little bit too much for my preference. Interesting part is she still has left pelvic tilt at this position, and then she hasn't dropped into a whole bunch of right bends. So she's actually she's kind of close to the model I prefer, but I still think that the trail knee is kind of messing everything up by kicking in a little bit too much. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me actually finish this diagram so you guys can kind of see. But this is what I kind of call almost the K look. It kind of looks like a K to me. Maybe I'm just losing it, guys, but I hope you guys can kind of understand what I'm trying to say. That knee is kicked in. This one's usually a little bit more closed, and then she has a bunch of right bend. But that's kind of the K look for me. Now it's pretty typical that you see the Japanese push forward this way. I think when done with the shallowing, it doesn't really make sense. Let me kind of explain why. So if you push forward, right, and you add on a lot of this spin, and then you also get the club flatter, what you're doing is you're getting the club head really far behind the body, right? When the club head's really far behind the body, we have a tendency to have low point behind the ball, right? So what do we have to do to make sure we hit it solid? Well, most people are going to end up pushing even more eventually, right after they chunk enough shots. They start pushing more, then they start extending more, and then they start throwing angles, starting adding loft, and then getting into the flip ideas where they're losing control over the club face, right? So that's kind of why I don't like that style of push when they're shallowing out the golf club. It almost makes more sense if you're going to push linear and push forward quite a bit. It makes more sense to get the club head steepening in transition. It almost kind of matches up better that way. So when I see people, especially the Japanese, who are trying to shallow out the golf swing and still push the same way that they've always pushed, I see them getting worse. I don't see them hitting the ball very well doing that. So something to be very careful when you guys are out there working on the shallowing golf swing and you guys are trying to kind of implement it yourself. Maybe we need to start pushing a little bit different way, right? So let's go take a look at Johnny real quick. So Johnny Ruiz is one of George Gankes' students, very much famous and known kind of for his golf swing. He has a little bit of a cross-the-line look at the top. The elbow flies out, kind of like what George likes to see. But he really shallows out the club, and you can really visually see it lay down. And it looks, let's just be honest, it looks really sick, right? So a lot of people want to copy that type of model, but we're not really looking more so at the cross-the-line idea. We're just going to kind of look at the legwork real quick and kind of see if we can see a difference in push. So first off, let's establish that he's pushing a lot less, right? So we're going to draw a line pretty much right at the lead hip, at the top of the swing. So when we get him down to right around kind of the similar position, lead arm parallel, we don't see that the lead hip has broken through that line, right? That's kind of the big differences between the way I would rather see people push forward and then the traditional way Japan is teaching, right? Now what we do see is his lead knee is in external rotation, right? So his lead knee has kind of cleared out a little bit, which again is something we like to see here at Mamiko Higa Academy. Also, if we take a look at his trail knee, we can see that it's kicked in a lot less than Mamiko's has at this point. He's over right around 179, right? So it's hardly kicked in at all at this point, right? Now the main reason why he's doing that, George likes a little bit more external rotation in that trail knee than I prefer per se, even though we're pretty similar in the way that we kind of teach that trail knee. But all in all, Johnny over here is pretty much pushing his pressure for the way I would prefer to see it, and I think it matches up better to shallowing up the shaft and then pushing this way as opposed to sliding and trying to shallow up the shaft. I don't think those two work. So if we go dissect these two players again, like I said earlier, Mamiko has kicked that trail knee in a little bit more than Johnny has. They both have externally rotated that lead knee, which is pretty good.
But Mamiko's also done it by pushing forward while she's done that. So I think that she's going to be in a pretty tough position there to hit the ball. If we look at Johnny, he also has a left pelvic tilt still here. And then he has a little bit of right bend, right? So anyways, these are kind of the two styles of how to push forward. And let me kind of draw a line right here too, so you guys can kind of see the full effect of this. And this is pretty much, let me get to about here. Yeah. So now you guys can kind of see, right? So this is pretty much the two differences between how to push and pressure forward. Let's call the one on, let's just call it a slide for now, be easy for you guys to understand. Let's call Mamiko's a little bit more of a slide. Let's call Johnny's a little bit more of a pressure shift. So anyways, guys, if you're going to shallow out the golf swing, you got to make sure that you're doing it more so in the way that Johnny's doing it when he's pushing. Because I don't think that the way Mamiko's doing it is going to be a successful long run, unless you just practice a bunch. But again, I don't think it's going to be as successful. So anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this comparison between these two players. Again, it was Lexi Thompson, Johnny Ruiz as other examples, and then Mamiko Higa was kind of the main professional we're analyzing today. But yeah, this was working up into our series again at Grandage Golf Club. It's in Nana. It's a great course. We call it the Kiwi Shallow Series. I'm starting this 3 levels of certification in Japan. Basically, if you want to be fully certified on understanding the shallow golf swing and to be able to shallow golf club correctly, we're having 3 levels of certification. Inside those 3 levels, there's 4 seminars for each one. That's a total of 12 seminars. So if you guys go to all of those, we're very confident you guys will be proficient in shallowing out the golf swing. So if you guys kind of like this type of content, you guys like what we're talking about, you guys want to learn the shallow golf swing, go ahead, make sure to click the link below. There'll be a Google Docs to where you can figure out basically when the seminar is, what times, what we do, questions, all that good stuff. There's contact information on there so you can get in touch with us, and we'll get you scheduled for the seminar because I want you guys out here. So anyways, guys, best of luck out there. Play some golf, and I'll talk to you guys soon.